Welcome back. Daily show on a Tuesday morning, 9:24, a little bit of change. Back with Joan and Triune Canine Training and Event Center. I told you I would botch this. I was so nervous about it too. I was getting in my head and I was starting to think about all the possibilities that could go wrong. You know, Joan.
Yep. just like it looks.
Yep. And well, in Triune though, I was doing a little bit of research and just on your website, and it's really interesting just to see your experience in training canines and training dogs, and really just the success that you've had over here, you know, the last couple of years. Take me through that a little bit. What led to your move up this way?
Well, I actually started my business in 1986 in Kansas, so I've been around a while. Mm-hmm. Trained there for, until 2010 when I decided to relocate to St. Louis area. Mm-hmm. Once I relocated, I was actually training out of other facilities until I got so busy and people wanted me to do more and more, but I had no time at these other facilities, that it was time to step out and put my foot in and start looking for a place to build so that I could just train all the time on my hours the way I wanted to do it and not the way other facilities like to do it. Mm-hmm. And so we've just grown and grown and grown, and I've built my dream, and now I'm living my dream.
That's incredible. Well, and take me through, how'd you get started in training dogs?
Well, I actually was an Army brat, so I did not have a dog. And so I was actually pet sitting, my very first pet sitting job at age 6. Mm-hmm. And then I trained my first neighbor's dog when I was 12. And it was a big 150-pound St. Bernard.
No pressure there.
No pressure. And I simply read a book and I trained him through that. And way back then, I was teaching this 150-pound dog to go down the slides at the playground, jump bicycle racks. I never thought that would actually lead to an actual sport that I am now doing and doing well with. But I look back on that and I go, there was a plan for me, and it started back then and it just progressed. So,
well, and whenever you decided to make the full jump into it, take me through the first couple of years. What was it like getting your footing in? Because I'm sure that there's always learning curves when it comes to training any animal.
Absolutely. I actually went to college, got a biology degree, was going to go into physical therapy, and I had my dog, Brandon, which was a Sheltie, at college, and he ended up being very popular at college. He got to go into the gym and do things with me while I was, watching the ball games and stuff. All my sorority sisters helped me sneak him in at night, even though I knew that the house mother knew that he was in there, but she didn't care. But he was known all over. And my advisor, after I graduated, I was sitting outside and he goes, is physical therapy really what you want to do? I said, really, I want to do something with dogs. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you got to do what you love. He said, so make that decision.
I love it.
And that's what I did. So I started at a humane society and then realized that dogs needed help staying out of the humane society. So that's when I started training dogs to help them stay out of the humane society, because some of the issues that people brought them in for were ridiculous. And I thought, I can help.
Right.
So then I became a veterinarian technician and I started training classes for the vet. And then I built from there.
That's really cool. Yeah. Well, and before we go into, some of the behaviors and different things that you see and that we are doing to ourselves, I'm more than honest about that. I'm the biggest, contributor to my dog's behavioral issues, I think. I also saw that, you graduated from this canine training program. Take me through that. That was back in 87. What was that like? Well,
it was given by a military instructor, and he was in Vietnam. And so we learned a lot of the behaviors with the wolves that he had on the property.
Wow.
So one of the things we had to do was go in a cage of wolves and learn how to just walk around the outside, inside the cage face off these wolves, which, wolves are not aggressive unless cornered.
Okay.
They really don't want to do anything. So you just did not turn your back on them. You walk the outside of the cage in there facing them the whole way through. And that was one of the parts of the program.
Wow.
And then I was given the first dog he gave me. was a chow.
Ooh.
That was out of a puppy mill. The dog hadn't been groomed for a very long time, and they handed him to me on what they call a control stick, which is the way the animal control pull aggressive dogs out to keep them from biting them. And they handed him to me and said, "Here's your dog for the training program." Okay. I didn't look back. So within a couple of weeks, I was able to groom him. I did all the training with him. And then the military instructor saw that I had a gift. So he gave me, the next dog he gave me was a German Shepherd that had been turned down by 3 other instructors that were going through the program because he had bit each one of them.
Oh, wow. At least he's consistent.
Yes. And so I ended up graduating with that one, and she ended up becoming a personal protection dog for somebody.
That's incredible.
That. Yeah. So
well, and what's it feel like to know, especially in those situations, you're taking dogs that a lot of people would never even turn their nose up at and even look at, and you're creating at least a stable living environment for them and getting them in a normalized routine. It's got to feel like a major accomplishment each time.
It does. It's a blessing. And, just being able to read dogs and understand dogs and feel like they're communicating with me what their needs are, has really helped me with my training.
Well, and now take me through some of the classes that are provided over there at Triune. Because there's a ton, from different scent classes to behavioral classes. Fill me in on the Rolodex you have over there. Yeah,
we actually start with basic and family manners, which is for all dogs from puppies on up. With that class, they learn just the basic family things, not jumping up, all the basic commands, sit down, stay, and come. No love biting. We work on things like not running out the doorway. Our classes are limited to 6, so we have lots of individual attention instead of bulking a bunch of people in there.
Right.
And the one thing that we don't allow in classes are dogs with aggression, because we want to make the environment good for everyone. So if somebody's having that issue, we have to deal with it in private settings. We can't do it in the class situations.
Well, and what's that private setting look like? And what's aggression too? Whenever it comes to seeing that, because, my dog, he is a barker. He does not calm down whenever he sees a dog. Now, he doesn't, go crazy or anything, but, he wants to play. What do you do with a situation like that? Is that something you would do in a private setting, or is that something that you would try to handle with a class environment first and then see what happens?
No, we always start in situations with dogs that people think are just trying to play with other dogs and are loud. We actually do private lessons to make sure we're assessing the right thing. Because a lot of people say, well, my dog just wants to play. When I'm looking at that dog, he don't want to play. So we need to assess that. And then I help them control it before they actually get into the class situation. And it's just very rewarding when people that have come in with dogs that are fearful or are showing aggression come in to the private lessons. We start working with them. Then I get them into class settings. And I just feel so excited because they're doing their homework and the dogs are working around other dogs. And we have the distractions of the dog agility going on at the same time these dogs are having to work.
Oh, wow.
Which is a very stimulating and exciting environment.
Right. And so, take me, and going back into that a little bit, what are some signs, of aggression that maybe, are misconstrued sometimes?
Well, people think that a dog wagging his tail is happy to see you. Well, if you ever look at a canine that's actually biting on an attack sleeve when they're practicing, that tail's wagging. It simply means excitement.
Okay.
So that is totally misconstrued in a lot of situations.
That's interesting. Very fascinating. And, take me through some of your other courses as well.
We also do therapy dog work so that we can take them into nursing homes, libraries, help in hospital settings. And that's very rewarding because people need to be able to pet a dog to kind of relieve their stress.
Oh, yeah.
So I love the therapy dog program. And I heard you guys were going up to Villa Rose today for their anniversary. That's one of the places that we visit once a month.
Really cool.
Yes. We also offer scent work where the dogs learn to find certain scents. It's not like tracking like the police canines, but it's simply a sport where they're supposed to find 3 different scents, and then they put them in different levels, whether it's outdoors, elevated, indoors. So there's different levels of that. We also offer rally classes, which is kind of a fancified obedience where they have to do a course and then they do kind of tricks while they're doing the course.
Oh, wow.
We also offer dog agility, which is one of our big things.
Well, and we'll take a look into dog agility here after this break. But, what also I was looking at was the Canine Good Citizen testing. What is that?
What that is Canine Good Citizen testing is after you've completed a basic and family manners class and an advanced obedience class, we actually work towards Canine Good Citizen, which the American Kennel Club gives you a certificate for. And it actually shows that your dog is able to handle environments outside of their own, people petting them, being groomed, being left with somebody.
Yeah.
More distance, more distractions. So it's not just a library atmosphere where the dog's in one little room and can do sit down, stay, and come, but it's other people walking by, being able to walk up to somebody and have your dog sit while you're having a conversation with people.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of this is an investment of time too, and it's on the owner 100% to be able to be out there. What's that look like, from start to finish whenever it comes to, that initial, first course to, all the way up to that final step?
Well, Kathy, which everybody knows Kathy, she came in with her dog. And if anybody has seen the movie Marley and Me, that's what I told her puppy reminded me of. She got her Canine Good Citizenship title last month. And it's taken her a while because at one point she just thought, I give up.
Right.
But she has come so far, and she can take her dog anywhere, and it's just well-mannered. People can pet it without her jumping up, and she'll just lay down, while she's working. And it's just nice to see that kind of transformation, but it wouldn't have happened without the owner really investing a lot of time into the training.
100%. And honestly, I think that's the biggest disconnect sometimes is, a lot of people want the magic wand wave, and then everything's taken care of. But it is that time, it's that time consumption, and that investment that it all needs to be made to be successful in it too. That's really fascinating. You got a moment to take a break with me? I gotta pay a quick bill. It's 9:36, a little bit of change. We'll come back and learn a little bit more about all this great stuff after this quick one on RiverBender.com and Roku TV.
Oh no, another bad headache?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to see your doctor.
OSF Healthcare can handle all of your family's primary care needs, including diagnosing health issues or referring you to a specialist. Schedule an appointment today.
For the biggest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in the Riverbend, visit AltonToyota.com or stop by their location on the Homer Adams Parkway in Alton. Winner of the prestigious President's Award, Munganass Burkhardt Alton Toyota knows how to treat their customers, and they will help you find the vehicle that is perfect for you. For years, Munganass Toyota has been a fixture in the Riverbend, and now Munganass Burkhardt carries the tradition. New name, but the same great service you've come to expect.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
With over 20 years of experience, Wilson's Tree Service has the expertise to handle all of your tree care needs. Licensed and fully insured, their team of experts are dedicated to providing reliable service. Plus, with a 24-hour emergency service line, Wilson's will always be there for you. Don't risk tackling that timber by yourself. Trust the local professionals at Wilson's Tree Service. Visit treeservicealtonil.org to get started today.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Shot a tequila beer on tap, sweet southern woman sit on my lap. G with an O, O with a D, T with an I, and a M and a E, and a good time. Sure, good time.
Welcome back, Daily Show, 9:38, a little bit of change, back with Joan and Triune Canine Training and Event Center. You know, this is, it's really fascinating just to talk about this because it's one of those things to where, you know, everyone really should. Are you under the belief that everyone should take a dog, the initial dog course, you know, whether it's with you or just with any, you know, trainer too?
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And why is that? Is it just because, is it to really teach the owner some things too? Because a lot of times I feel like it's just maybe an owner not understanding the best way to raise that dog in that environment.
Yes. Bringing a dog to a class scenario actually puts them into reality environments because they're around other dogs, other people. So it's a good socialization skill for the dog or puppy.
Well, and now take me through the other trainer that's at your facility. Take me through his background.
It's a she.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's Chris Brewer. She actually started training with me when I was coming to St. Louis and just doing some private lessons.
Really? So you guys go back a little bit?
Yes,
wow.
quite a ways.
Really cool. And now, has she been there since the start of Triune?
She's been there since I moved it here.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fascinating. And now, does she teach the same amount of classes that you do or have a different course load?
No, she has a different course load. She does strictly the dog agility.
Okay. And now you have two dogs competing. We were talking about a little bit during the break. Take me through that. How long have they been competing for?
Well, I have Victory, who is he'll be 5 in August, and he's a Shetland sheepdog. And then I have a new Australian Shepherd puppy, and she's 18 months, and she just started competing.
Really cool. What's that process look like? You know, whenever you start training them, how long does that does it take? Is it different for each prospective dog, I'm assuming? And how often do you have to train to get them ready for competition?
Well, with dog agility, we actually make the people start in the basic and family manners.
Okay.
Because you have to have control to be able to turn your dog loose and have them run, you know,
wild
15 to 25 miles per hour over these obstacles,
right,
and to do it safely. If you don't have that training of the initial bond with your dog, taking them out there, it can be disastrous and dangerous for the dog.
Right. Well, and now whenever you go into after you conclude the family and the dog manners classes, whenever you start training, what's the initial training look like? Is it just learning, you know, just the basic commands of the event? And then when do you insert the obstacles and the different instruments into it?
Well, we start that with the basic foundation, which is the first week.
Wow.
And then we move into the obstacle course.
That's interesting.
And we start teaching the behaviors on the obstacles so that they get comfortable with the obstacles. Then once they work through the beginner class, and we have different levels moving on up, from our intermediate one up to our young dogs to bridging the gap, and then we go into our handling classes. So bridging the gap is kind of the spot in between just the dogs getting started in competition, and then once they've reached, you know, their first titles there, then they move into the handling class, and we get a lot more different ideas of things to do with their particular dog, because not all dogs are the same.
Right.
You know, it takes at least 3 pounds of a dog to put down that seesaw. You know,
That's true.
So, you know, we have to be able to teach those dogs to go clear to the end of that seesaw to even make it go down.
Right.
And, you know, then we have dogs that I've trained, Great Danes, that are 170 pounds that have problems going across the dog walk because they're so wide going across. So you have to teach them how to bring their legs in to actually get across a dog walk because it's only 12 inches wide.
Man, a Great Dane running that fast is something to see.
Yeah, yeah. So right now we have a Russian wolfhound taking classes. So,
wow.
And she's going to be phenomenal. I mean, she's just fun to watch.
I'm sure she's topping out everywhere near 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, she will.
That's interesting. This is so cool. And now I wanted to go back because the dog obedience classes and the family dog manners classes are the base foundation for what you guys do at Triune. And now, when do the next sessions begin for you guys?
So we just started an agility class last night for this this week, and those classes run for 5 weeks. We start a new set of obedience classes starting the first week of August. Our scent work classes, which are full, we're starting those this evening also, and those will run for 5 weeks.
And you can find out more information by going to TriuneCanine.com. That's TriuneCanine.com, and you can click on the classes and courses, the classes tab, and you can see all of them. There's a bunch to go through, but the base one is the obedience class to make sure that we're all where we need to be. And it makes sense. I mean, it 100% makes sense, especially with all the stimulating factors that come to it.
Yes.
Well, and now when it comes to the event facility, can people rent that out, or how does that work?
We do rent it out to clubs to put on dog agility trials.
That's right. I figured.
Yes.
And do you rent it out quite often?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so we have events there continually. Maybe you'll come down one day and actually watch it, and you can interview some different people there.
Well, absolutely. When it seems like one of those things where you have to see it for yourself to truly get the full picture and the impression of what these dogs can do.
Yes, and you can see it a lot on TV, ESPN. You can see it on Animal Planet a lot of times. Chris, which is the other trainer, has been on TV several times with her Australian Shepherds.
That's really cool.
Recently, so.
That's awesome. Well, and see, that's great for the public to know, too, that whenever, they're taking their dog in, they're going to a really respected two trainers that have done quite a bit of work, in the field, too. It's a good background.
Yes.
Well, and now with private lessons, what do those look like and how much do they run? So
private lessons, you can do either dog agility, obedience, certain behavior issues that you're trying to fix. And those are half an hour long. And it's specifically you and your dog. You can have your family members come too, because we always recommend if you have family that wants to be involved, that everybody comes in so that they all understand what's going on. And those are $75 a half hour session. And you schedule those on our website also. Well, and when it comes to it, does the dog take pretty quickly to whenever you're in a private setting to some of the commands? Is it up to the owner to really practice those and really keep up a routine? And when it comes to once we get home after the training session? Oh, absolutely. We can't give a magic pill and send it home. But do the dogs learn the commands pretty quick at that day of the training? Yes, very quickly. Wow. Yeah. See, this is why it's really fascinating. And I hope people really take something out of this and really get their dogs signed up, or especially if I love the agility, because because I've seen a couple of the videos and I just blown away how quick they can move through some of those hurdles, and especially the little poles. What are the poles? Those are called weave poles, and there's 12 poles, and the dogs have to slalom through them like you see on skiing. They have to go in and out all the way through, and there's such different varieties, especially when you're dealing with the little 3-pound dog going through compared to the great big dog that's in 6 poles at a time between head and tail. Right. So it's a big variation. Okay, that's fascinating. And, whenever it comes to overall just this conversation, what do you hope the public takes away from it the most? Just coming on the show today and talking about Triune a little bit. All dogs need training and all people need education of their dogs. 100%. And following through with the training is what's important. These aren't computers. We can't put a microchip in them, and they're not remotes. So there is no remote to handle a dog. No, 100%. And before I let you go, do you have any fun competitions coming down the pipeline that you're going to be having your two dogs competing in? We've got a competition at our facility at the end of August. What date is that? Whatever that last week of August is. It's gotcha. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. August 29th through the 31st. Oh, let's go the week before that. The 22nd through the 24th. That's it. There we go. Friday through Sunday. It starts at 8 o'clock and usually runs till about 4 p.m. each day. And the public is welcome. No unentered dogs are allowed in the facility during that. That makes sense. But you're welcome to come watch. It's always something fun for your children to come see and possibly get involved with. We love our little junior handlers. We love training the kids to teach their dogs to do things. It's fun to see it. That's really cool. And what's the best way to get all the information? Is it your website? Yes. And where are you guys located at too, just for the public, just for maybe a landmark on how to get there on the 22nd? We are located just off of 255. right in between the Kia dealership, Federico Kia dealership, and the Federico Dodge dealership. We're in the same building as the Kia dealership, right in the middle.
Really cool. Well, thank you so much for stopping by, Joan. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I just best of luck with the upcoming competition, and if whenever you have time to come back on, just join the show and fill me in.
Will do. Thanks so much.
9:49, a little bit of change on this Tuesday morning. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with more after this.